Yeah, I agree. No foreplay. Let's just get into it.
That's it. We're living in raw times.
Yeah, that's right. Raw times. Mate, first off, I want to thank you from when you came on. Oh, what is it now? Nearly 16 months ago, I think it was.
Far out.
Yeah.
That long ago.
Yeah. After that, having yourself and Dave on, man, the podcast had a massive skyrocket. I think there was also
wow.
Gary Fetke as well. It was in that mix where we had a big week around that time.
On a roll that week. That's wicked.
Yeah, it's my Everest in the tracking of how many people listen and download to this thing.
Yeah, nice, man. Well, let's do it again then.
Yeah,
we're here now.
Let's break the internet.
Jump on, everyone.
Yeah,
break the internet. Exactly. Pull a Kardashian.
Yeah, I think the internet is broken at the moment, so this is going to be interesting. Us talking across Tasman of bloody what's that thing called? Where they just restrict the flow of the net, of the web, of the ideas.
I think I know what you're talking about, and it's scaring me. Yeah.
Throttling. Yeah, mate. Speaking of the end of that spectrum, censorship. You were having a rant and it disappeared.
Yeah. What gives? Like, I had a rant on my Instagram stories, and I'm nobody special. Like, I haven't got that many followers or anything or that much important to say. And I was just having a rant because the story. Do you want me to give the story?
Yeah, because I didn't see it, obviously.
Basically, yeah. So essentially what happened was I was just self-isolating, minding my own business, following all the rules. And then a French couple came knocking at my door. So I went out to see what's going on, and they bought a van a week ago, and the van broke down in front of my house. So I'm like, am I going to social isolate, or I'm going to help these guys? They're in a foreign country and like they're fucked. So I went out to see what the situation was, and helped give them a bit of a push and everything. We ended up getting it started, long story short. And then on my way back, I just got on the iPhone because I'm like, well, this is a real life moral dilemma right now that proves that it's just not as black and white as everyone was making it out a week ago. I mean, I think things are moving fast, so I think now people are understanding it's a bit not black and white, but it was like 1.5 meters, stay away from people, only stay inside. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to let that override the fact that I want to be a decent human being as well. So I just put that out on a poll on Instagram. I said, like, what do you do in this situation? Like, can you help out, or do you help yourself, or what gives, you know? I wasn't even saying don't do it. I was just asking the question. And then next morning I woke up and it was gone. Just gone.
Dum, dum, dum.
And then, yeah. A couple people messaged me saying that they had, other people had similar instances as well. And that's when I was really like, man, what's going on here? That's when I went full conspiracy for a little bit. Like, a lot of emotions have been going up and down since it all happened, but that day was conspiracy. I was like, this isn't on. Like, you shouldn't be testing out censorship like this. I'm not happy with that. I'm not okay with this.
This glitch in the matrix, big time.
Yeah.
No, so I don't know. The internet is an entertaining place right now, and even that's how I look at the conspiracies is entertainment, and sort of observational to see where when usual capacities are taken away from humans, how people can tribe up and sort of self-fulfill the prophecy that's been said, and then sort of turn it around to fix their narrative. My favourite one's the 5G, and obviously as this has gone worldwide, that's losing face a little bit. But they did a good job with the 5G and sort of said that the starting point was because of 5G. So they've got that to fall back on, that I think is where they're going to end up with. That the 5G killed all these birds and animals and things in a concentrated place, and then from that decaying flesh created the disease that then jumped to humans. So Yeah, it's a possibility.
And you reckon that's legit?
Don't know. We don't know if the 5G killed the birds. The argument is that it's the pesticides. And I brought this up before. No, I haven't. That was me on another podcast, which, given the circumstances, the person that I did it with hasn't released it yet, because we blew some ones and he's sort of changed tack and thinking that maybe we should calm the mind right now. So that one's in the can for whenever that does come out, and I'll release it too. But so there was. I'll tell the story. I've got the platform here. In Africa, there's a locust plague. So speaking of conspiracy theorists, you can just go to the Bible for this one. There's a plague of locusts going on. But conversely, in the UK, there's this random town, I don't even know where it is, and they measure the number of bugs that are on number plates, and they did it about 20 years ago, so it must have been around the millennium, and then they've just done it again, and sure enough, there's less bugs on the number plates, which says that, correlates to there's less bugs around. So that makes sense. My sort of theory is, and you can draw parallels to this everywhere, gut microbiome and face, whatever you want, is one of them. That when you have a lower competition, things that can take advantage, and I've got not me personally, but I treat this thing in the eyelashes called Demodex, and they're one of these opportunistic ones that when your immune system or something drops down, they overpopulate, and people have these crusty, yuck eyelashes, and I clean them up with tea tree oil. Anyway, so when you've got...
that would have been... I'm just picturing tea tree oil in my eye.
I use some high-level anesthetic. Unfortunately, I had a guy allergic to it the other day. That was exciting. That was on... He came back on Thursday when we were about due to lock down. So Wednesday. Yeah, God, I don't know what day of the week it is. He came back on Wednesday with big puffy eyes. I was like, shoot. He's allergic to coriander, so are you getting rid of the demon?
Poor guy. Hey, I got to keep things pure now. I'm burning some Palo Santo. I'm not sure if you can smell that through a podcast, but just Palo Santo. Just picture that as we talk. Let's see how this changes the podcast.
So these mites take hold when your immune system is slightly down, or so probably what happens is little bacteria overcolonize, they produce funky skin, and then these little mites, they feast on it and overpopulate, and you can't get rid of them unless you dose it with tea tree oil. So going back to the locusts, when you've sprayed out all of the bugs and all of the weed species, something like a grasshopper that can just hoon through it then turns into a locust, and then you have a plague. And so that's I don't know why I started talking about that, but that's one of the things I've been thinking about with how the world works as we try to manipulate it to ourselves, to grow acres and acres of corn, kill everything. Shit. Someone comes back at us, and guess what? No one gets to eat corn or maize or whatever they grow in Africa. Don't know.
What I'm hearing out of all of this, Ryan, is you're making a point about outrunning your environment and what you can do within your environment. So I want to use an analogy that I learned recently from Dave O'Brien, to be honest, at risk of sounding like a complete idiot now, because I can't explain smart things very good. But when he's been... Jump on his Insta and you'll know what I'm talking about. But essentially it comes down to it's from a lens of gut health, obviously. So a big thing that Dave talks about, and we sort of focus on at Fifth Element when dealing with gut issues and bacterial issues and things like that, is that first thing you want to do is actually heal the gut lining, because that is the environment there. You want to heal this so that the terrain is beneficial for good bacteria to thrive and for opportunistic bacteria to sort of lay low. So the way he describes it is, if your gut was a forest and the leaves and the trees and everything up top are the canopy is your good bacteria. So that's up there, that's flourishing, that's thriving. Down the bottom in the dirt, that's your opportunistic bacteria. So some people call it bad bacteria, but it's probably not the best way to go about it, because it's opportunistic. And what happens is that when it sees an opportunity, it runs in and it takes over and it takes advantage. And that's when it could become a bit of an issue. So the way that a lot of people try and look at gut health in particular is, and this is the probiotic argument, people will flood you full of probiotics, but if the environment isn't right and you're just putting probiotics in, is that really going to do anything? Because remember, your environment is the trees. So if you've got leaky gut, if you've got some deteriorated issues in your epithelium, in your gut lining, the trees are chopped down. How's that going to be for the good bacteria up the top on the canopy? They're probably not really going to have much of a chance without the trees being there. But what's going to happen to all the animals that do live on the ground and in the dirt? They're going to flourish now. They're going to take over. They're opportunistic, and they're going to flood, and that's what's going to take over, and that's what starts to cause some issues. So that's kind of what I heard when you were talking about the insects and the locusts. Like, well, what's the balance here? What's the balance? What's actually flooding in? What's taking over? And ultimately, what can we do to fix this environment? I mean, if we're spraying shit everywhere and there's glyphosate all over the soils and it's getting into our food chains, that's going to be a very good representation of how our bodies are actually living. Mm-hmm. We're going to have that same issues within our bodies. You can't outrun your environment, which is unfortunate. Yeah. I guess that's why I guess that's why for me, that was another sort of conspiracy, but I guess a conspiracy angle for the whole COVID situation. Like, is COVID actually a threat to us? Is it actually something that's dangerous? Or is it just Mother Nature saying, like, hey, you humans being opportunistic and taking over and fucking everything up, we're going to put a little balance back into this now?
Yeah. No, you take a 3,000 meter view of this, say, like, go out to space and look at this little rock that we're on with all this fantastic opportunity to live, and then just sort of look at it as a whole thing and go, man, these guys are annihilating the place. What is it that's gonna bring it back? And you know, we're quite self-destructive as a being, you know, whether that's on the micro or the macro level. But when it gets to the point where we've got this critical mass of people, and like, hey, despite all of it, we're not at the carrying capacity of the earth. We can keep reproducing, but at what cost? And so, like you said, maybe, you know, to take an objective view of it, maybe this is a little bit of nature and the earth kicking us back, and yeah, it is. And carrying on that metaphor of the gut, it's like, well, if you keep feeding yourself crap, guess what's going to develop? Crap, both literally and figuratively. Yeah.
Probably not the type of crap you want to be seeing in the toilet either. not the healthy looking kind.
Yeah. What's that poo chart?
The poo chart. There's have you seen Paul Check's one? He's got like a line up, like at a prison of different types of shit. And they all just look like typical criminals. Oh, I love it. Look that one up.
I overdid it on the well, not overdoing it on the vitamin C. That's how you know you've got to critical mass of vitamin C. But I also added the vitamin C I was taking had magnesium in it, and then I also added another bunch of magnesium. And then I looked today, I was like, I wonder how much magnesium I took, and recommended dose on the packet was like a quarter of a teaspoon, and I was doing like half a dessert spoon worth. And so I think I found the answer as to why things got a bit squirrely.
Yeah, fair enough, man. You know what?
Magnesium binds water, apparently. Especially magnesium oxide, I think. Oh, who knows?
Oxide? Yeah. You're asking the wrong guy. Take magnesium though. I know that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know what I was just thinking about the whole environment thing as well. How short-sighted we are and how easy we forget things, because we have all been obviously focusing on COVID and everybody's forgotten about the environment now. And I'll give you an example. I don't know how it is over there where you are, but in Australia, keep cups were completely banned because people would be touching them and transferring viruses and whatever. So everyone is now putting disposable cups on a pedestal.
It's a conspiracy. It's the plastics industry. It's the plastics industry.
Yeah, it's the plastic. Oh my God, everyone's in on this shit. Far out. But yeah, I mean, obviously you got to prioritize and things like that. But this is just where I sort of jump in, because everyone's jumping to extremes, and the media is on a big fear-mongering frenzy because that's what's going to get them hits. And what I can see is just all the polarization that's going on. Like, people are just so polarized about everything. And I'm trying to point out the middle grounds here. And the look, it's still not so black and white. We got to look after coronavirus right now, but we've just forgotten about the environment and about global warming and about wastage and about landfills and everything that 2 weeks ago, especially in my area up in like Fitzroy and everything in Melbourne, everyone was screaming about. They've just forgotten it now. They've dropped it. So it really makes me wonder what's going to happen now when we get past COVID, because we will get past it. What's going to happen? We're just going to forget about it? Everyone's forgotten we had bushfires in Australia a couple months ago. No one's talking about that no more.
Yes. That's where I was going to go. The bushfire thing. I saw the best meme, and I don't mean to pick on greenies because they come from a good place. But it was the greenie, one of the Green MPs, and I don't follow Australian politics because that person probably won't be there next week. But yeah, it was just had a sad face, of course, and it was like, this flooding is ruining my climate disaster or something like that. And I thought, yeah, that goes to your short-sighted view of like, here is this nature which does not give a fuck, and it's lighting everything on fire because there's so much fuel around. And guess what? It's going to rain soon. It will rain soon. And guess what? It rained, and shit, did it rain?
Rained a lot.
Yeah, and it's
when it rains, it pours.
Yeah, even like here, like New Zealand's had a little bit luckier. Like, there's been the odd shower come around, but man, it was dry. But yeah, 4th day of rain now, and man, things are looking way better. But yeah, like we were weighing some cattle the other day, and they're about 100 kgs short of where they usually are. So, you know, there's, you know, it's awesome being out here at the farm and just, you know, I saw a post by some doctor. I don't know who he was. Didn't have too much notice, but he's saying instead of calling it a lockdown, call it slow down. And yeah, being out here in a farming situation, looking at animals, looking both farmed and wild, and trees and landscapes and grass and, you know, all that sort of stuff, and thinking about nutrients and all that, you know, where food starts, you just kind of go, man, been worrying about some dumb shit.
Yeah, man, for real. You're in a good place. You're in a good place if you get to be locking down, slowing down on a farm.
Yeah.
I envy that.
Yeah,
I've got a big backyard, so I'm pretty happy. But like, I mean, if I was in an apartment right now, no way.
Yeah, thankfully,
no way.
My mate's got 650 hectares, so yeah, there's a lot of space. And yeah, we came into some wild deer the other day. Had a bit of fun with them, trying to convince them that I was a stag. They were quite impressed. They slowed them up, and then they finally got over it. I think the yelling was like, there's something sketchy going on here, and ran off, so they chased it. And then we saw them around the top of the hill, and so I gave it a little and then the hind popped her head up, and was like, oh, who's that? I was like, yeah,
there she is.
I'm convincing.
Yeah, that's sick. I should probably point out actually now, after our last podcast, my housemate, he's a hunter as well. He's a massive fan of yours now. He's a regular. He's listening to the podcast. So yeah, shout out to Nick.
Cheers, Nick.
Yeah, he brought back some fallow last week. Oof. First time I've ever tasted it. Oh my God, that stuff's delicious.
It's real good. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I have eaten it. The sea gig that I got in the next range up, that was bloody good. Whereas the red hind that I got 3 weeks ago, there was a number of things why that wasn't as good. One, they're a bigger animal, so you hear Joe Rogan going on about elk, how they're amazing. They're massive, but yeah, I had to butcher it on the hill and didn't get a chance to hang or anything like that. So yeah, it's not as good, but still bloody delicious. That's where you start splitting hairs.
Yeah, no kidding. It sounds amazing. like when this all started, one of the first things that came up in my mind was like, I hang around hunters and I know lots of hunters and I can fish like a champion, but I really should know how to hunt now. Everyone's always like, we got to take you hunting. I'm like, yeah, let's go. And I've never made it happen. Far out. The things that pop up when life just throws you a curveball, things that are important.
Yeah, man. What did you say before you came on here? Having some top 3 fun. That's what hunting is. Having some top 3 fun. Doing something miserable. Yeah, miserable and very hard.
Is that what I said?
Oh,
what did I say?
On your Instagram.
On my Insta? Oh, yeah. Stage 3. No, because we went into stage 3 lockdown today. Oh. And that means you're only allowed to go outside for exercise now.
Me?
So
your stage 3 is way more strict than our stage 3.
I've stopped paying attention, to be honest, man. Like, I just don't know what it meant.
You're right. No, our stage 3 was the same. Basically, if you could stay home, please do it. Yeah. Which was the vibe.
I mean, fair enough.
But like, in all honesty, that was the case on Monday, and even what day is it now? Monday now. So yeah, Monday a week ago that was the case, and then they were like, right, we're going to transition to stage 4 on Wednesday night. So yeah, get your shit sorted. But even the week before, where it was like stage 2, it was like, if you're over 70, probably stay home. Like basically, all my patients were 70-year-olds who really didn't need to be there. I was just like, why did you need to come to see me today? They were just like, oh, you told me to come in. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Do you get this? And yeah,
habits just don't break that easily. That's the thing. Like, that's again why I just get so shitty, especially in Australia, about how they're communicating all this stuff. Because it's like, everyone straight away is like, stay inside, 1.5 meters. The politicians are literally like, stay at home. And they're just yelling at you. And I'm like, that's not how it works. Like, we need better understanding and better education around it. We need to know how many bloody stages are there? What are the plans for them? Like, what's the strategy you're taking? We can get behind it. You don't need to give us the details. Just give us some indication. If you don't know, let us know you don't know. But like, far out, man. I'm just like, I did a little bit of a thing on Insta today as well about it. I've never led a nation through a freaking pandemic like this before, but it's just crappy leadership and it's just scaring everybody. And all that tension's making me feel like, even today, I feel like I'm just real shitty and angry all the time, which isn't what I'm normally like, but that's what's coming up. Yeah. And I just wish there was a bit more direction about it and just a bit more honesty. Because habits aren't going to change. Even we never heard of the word social distancing before a week ago. So and there might be clips of YouTube of what's going on around overseas and things that are happening, but like, in the end of the day, until you're hit with a brick, as Tony Robbins would say, you're not really going to know. So I wish we could just get around each other as an actual as fellow countrymen, as fellow human beings, and just rather than screaming at each other about it, actually help each other through it and educate each other through it.
Yeah.
But I get it. Everyone's scared. Yeah, I think for me, it's a matter of I'm thinking too far in the future and what's going to come out of this and how we're going to prevent this in the future. So it stops me from just being like, okay, this is accepting what it is now.
You're going through grief, mate. Bargaining.
It's grief. Yeah, there you go. Oh, Brian, the counsellor.
No, they taught us that at uni, 5 stages of grief, and it's like, it's come up handy every now and again, but man, in a 40-minute appointment, you're kind of like, right, whoa. So I'm not your professional for this.
Actually, to be honest, it actually came at perfect timing for me, because like the last 6 months, I was actually in a very down point, and what I would now consider, I was for the first time in my life depressed. And I actually did start seeing a counsellor for the last month and a half. And she really got my head straight, man. Like, this actually couldn't have come at a better timing, because I've been feeling incredible lately.
Mate, so what do you reckon about counselling? Because like, I've been working with coach at work, and it's almost like, in this day and age where you can consume so much stuff and like read books, listen to stuff, Like, Joe Rogan episode's 3 hours, and when you put that on 1/2 speed, 2 hours at a time. So a couple of trips in the car, you've got all this knowledge all of a sudden, and then it's just like in your head. It's just waiting there to either show up in a situation or to slightly shape the way you attack your life and slightly increase where you are in terms of your openness or your ideas or whatever. When you go to a counsellor and basically what I find is that it then narrows down that scatter to that stuff showing up. They're there to bounce off. They're your mirror almost, as you sort of remove yourself for a moment and let your thoughts and ideas and feelings spill out of your mouth, which as blokes it can be pretty hard to do, and you don't really get an opportunity to do that in day-to-day life. And then you hear back what you've just said basically, and then you sort of, like, the first time I ever went to do psychotherapy was, I don't know, I was just it was post-uni, didn't know why I was feeling how I was feeling, and the dude was just basically like, mate, you got low self-esteem. And I was like, oh, sweet as. And he's like, basically the tool he gave me was like, when you're feeling odd, think about the story like it was somebody else telling you their story, and then try and give yourself the advice that you'd give that person. And most of the time it's like, mate, there's nothing wrong, you're being a little bit silly. What's the channel that you've been getting back from your counsellor?
So you found it useful though?
Yeah, man, I did. And at the, like, I only saw that person 3 times, and then I've been doing the coaching since end of December. So yeah, that was like 3 months worth. Those last 3 months, been going through a pretty difficult time. I've spoken to a few people about what's happened, but it's like most of the time was dealing with that. But then it's almost like things show up in your life to help you deal and work through things. And so when you get to this point in time, you're like, oh, I've dealt with that. I've accepted that. That's the key thing about grief, is that you work through those stages quickly to acceptance. Now you might renege back every now and again, but because you're prepared and because your head's straight and you feel good about yourself, you can move through. And I guess that's what speaks to mental health problems. You get stuck in one of those steps. You get stuck with anger, or you get stuck with emotionality, or you get stuck bargaining, and so you repeat those bad habits or those bad experiences. That's probably what some
caught in a loop.
Yeah,
caught in a loop. That's exactly what I was experiencing, obviously in my own way, but yeah, that fucking loop. And then you're in purgatory, stuck.
So what did the counsellor do for you?
So I'll just start by saying I'm a massive advocate. I think men in particular, I think everybody, but just being a man and knowing how men are, it's so useful. I'll back it up a step. So, I mean, relating it back to health and everything as well, because my journey ultimately started, which I explained in the last podcast. I just mentally wasn't on the right path because a lot of my friends were committing suicide and this and that and drugs and alcohol. So I wanted to get my mind right. That led me to a place where I wanted to get my body and my health right, because I'd never been healthy or fit or anything. So I went really, really hard down that rabbit hole, to the point I was working at a place like Fifth Element Wellness and just became that guy. But eventually doing that long enough as well, there was still something wasn't quite right. I was like, I've done 2 gut protocols. I've done these blood protocols. I'm always eating right and doing the right things, breathing and cold therapy and yada, 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 yada. I'm quite a spiritual person too, so I feel like I'm always having conversations, and I've done a lot of work to actually be open and expressive and feel my emotions and things like that. Something still wasn't there though. I was still like, I wasn't quite getting to whatever that thing was that was holding me back. But that thing was just becoming monstrously large. And it started to really peak for me last November. I had an acid trip. So, and it was a horrible trip. Like 3 tabs of acid is too much acid. Just if anyone is wanting to do psychedelics. But it was also the best trip of my life because it really, for the first time ever, it made me actually physically feel those emotions, those sort of shadow emotions, I'm calling them, pop up. Like I got to a place where I was sitting in a ball crying for like an hour, just feeling petrified. I felt like a little boy who was scared and I just couldn't run away from that feeling. And then even when the trip wore off, that feeling didn't really leave me. So I was like, there's something going on here. Now, I listened to a lot of Gabor Mate, or I have at some point, and he makes a big point that a lot of the things that we're living with are traumas that we've tucked away, that we built from when we were very, very young. He says that most of our habits and most of our traumas develop from the ages of 0 to 3. And trauma doesn't necessarily mean like you've been abused or anything like that. It could simply be a matter of you were crying and your mum was outside for half an hour and she wasn't there to comfort you. So you start to get issues of abandonment. Things like that actually play on in our lives. And I think it's really, really important. Going back to the philosophy of the 5th element, we're big believers that there is no monotherapy. You need to be working on all avenues to heal yourself. So I've done the gut stuff, I've done the health stuff, but in the end of the day, I still wasn't getting to the cause of what the stress was actually coming from and what was causing the stress in my life. And I was at a place where I was just feeling terrified and scared, and I felt like I've done all the work and I just still can't figure out why I am the way I am and why I just can't actually see my dreams and step into the person to make it a reality. And actually, like, I just didn't know what made me happy. I wasn't getting out of bed in a good state. I woke up and I was just like, I just don't want to go to bed. It got to a point where I actually had to just not go to work for a week because I just couldn't get out of bed. And I guess at that point, I realized talking to coaches and spiritual people and friends, and it's still not quite enough. So I went and saw this counselor. So she's been trained as a counselor officially. She's also a naturopath and everything too, though. So she is a little bit more holistic. And within the first 5 minutes, she cut through all my manly guards and all my safeguards and everything. And she just did it in a way where I was just like, that was really gentle. But it was also like, I know you're doing techniques here that I can't see through. So you know something that I don't know. This is awesome. And she was, man. She was. So I was like, all right, this is going to be really interesting. And she really just, she's been able to help me frame things in a way that no one else has been able to before. We've done a bit of Gestalt therapy, which has been really good. So that's basically so your thing you mentioned was self-esteem. That's definitely one of my things as well. But ultimately, one of my big things is perfectionism. And I'm an absolute extremist. For me, I'm all or nothing. It's either one way or the complete other way. Mm-hmm. For the first time in my life, she's helped me realize that about myself. And I guess the first few steps of it were just exploring, what does a middle ground look like between the two things you're thinking? Because I was at a point where every decision I make, that is how I make decisions. I sort of weigh things up against each other and decide on the best course of action and go from there. But I just felt like these decisions were just pulling further and further and further and further apart, that I was just stretched so fucking wide that it just crushed me. So she, for the first time ever, got me seeing that. Like, I was, after my first or second session, I was literally just like, okay, the point this week, all I want to do is notice the thoughts that come up in my head, assume that there's a good chance that they might be extreme, or just see if they are extreme, just question whether they're extreme, and then just explore what would a middle ground look like. Is that even a possibility? And that, my man, has changed my life, because I've never been able to think that way before. Like, there's a whole spectrum to decisions in life now in between the extremes that have been holding me back. Like, it's phenomenal. I can't describe it. I've never thought that way before. And the repercussions it's having is that now I am thinking a lot more about things that I've always wanted to do. Like, I've always wanted to own my own business and work for myself. have some head down to the surf coast, open up a center down there, things like that. But these were all things that just I put on a pedestal, and I was just like, it's too much. I've still got a lot to learn. I'm still not ready. I still haven't got the right ideas, blah, 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 bullshit. Just opening up to the fact that it doesn't have to be like that. I can break these things down in steps. Like, I feel like I'm just seeing life in a whole new dimension now. That was huge. That was huge.
Man.
She helped me recognize when I'm judging myself too, because I'm always trying to be a perfectionist, which means I'm always trying to live up to an impossible standard that you can't reach perfection, but that's what I'm always judging myself against. So she was like, hey, recognize that, Judge. That's okay. But just instead of him being a part of you, why don't you get him to sit next to you on the couch there and just be like, you're just going to take a seat
now. Mate, I feel that. That is awesome. You sort of brought me into a little trance there. I could sort of feel lots of warmth and stuff radiating up into my throat and from my heart. That was cool, man. Yeah, that was wicked. Mate,
that's magic. See?
Yeah, and I think that's where I count myself so lucky that I have had the journey that I've been on. In that at 12, I found this thing that I was like, and this is probably one of my flaws, and like you say, it's nuance is my favorite word, because you got to think about this and I don't know who put it up. I think Rosie Tong put it up about this. I can't even remember the quote, but it was basically, there is no good and bad. There is just your perspective on it. And so that's the same for this thing with me. I have this thing that I hang out there, my carrot. And my current carrot, which I always talk about, and you know, I guess it taps into a little bit of that secret stuff. If you keep talking about it, keep envisioning it, keep feeling it, then you'll get there type thing. Is the deer farm thing, and creating that into this farm to table retreat thing. Not to be corny with the word, but like this space that's essentially safe, but also dangerous. You know, again, either ends of the spectrum, for guys to come in and like you say, cut down those masks, those facades, those stories that are utter bullshit, and just like what we're doing right now, slow down, connect in, observe the countryside, observe the bush, observe the smells, water, you know, jump in an ice bath, do something hard, do something that you've never done before, be a beginner, and go and not be a know-it-all all of a sudden, and just be humbled by an experience. So that's the awesome thing for me about being here, and what I've been saying to people is, this has been fantastic. I've been playing in my mind. I read 4-Hour Workweek last year, and I was like, mini retirements. Like, how the hell can I go and have a mini retirement and work on a farm? Holy shit, I got 4 weeks to go work on a farm. And I'm just sitting there with my mate. We go out and do stuff, and I have a little idea about farming, but we're doing all the small things, all the little 1% things that on a farm matter, like digging trenches to wire up gates so that the stock fucking stay in the paddock, they don't run away. We fixed this floodgate on his boundary. It was like the fence was destroyed, and we rigged something up just so that the water can get through and the fence stays up. And like seeding a way that they'd put a bulldozer through so that hopefully the hillside doesn't fall down. Or just like, well, it's just like these little things that, hey, when you look at a farm, you go, oh yeah, you raise animals and send them off to the works, or you take their fleece off them, or in the case of deer, you might take their antlers off them and send them to China, so stuff. No, that's the black and white of it, and then you can start having an argument about, is that humane or is it not? You know, well, depends which way you look at it. Putting someone in a car is inhumane, but looking after them, giving them the best opportunity, making sure that they're not slaughtered by wild animals. Not that we have those in New Zealand, but
other than yourself.
Yeah, other than yourself. But yeah, it's like, yeah, it's just, yeah, I'm so lucky that I have these carrots out there, and they sort of guide my life. and I try do that nuanced approach. I try, and people might think that, hey Ryan, you're a hunter or you're an optometrist. These are labels, but no, I'm exploring, and I try showcase those contradictions to my life, like doing a handstand, doing yoga, juggling, being a dick, dancing around.
Oh man, I feel ya.
Wearing seven.
I feel like sometimes
wearing seven t-shirts.
My life is just literally one big motherfucking finger to anybody who wants to give me a label. Like that's what I live for. It's crazy. I'm just like, I'm gonna go do something that gives me a label just so I can see who actually labels me. So I can be like, I'm gonna go do the opposite now.
Yeah,
it's craziness. That's my extremism coming in here.
No, but that's the thing. Like, the world is so contradictory that to chuck a label on something is just stupid. Like,
it's nonsense.
Yeah. Anyone that self-identifies, that's why I think that's the thing that really ticks me off about veganism, is the person that labels themselves and then they spout this semi-religious ideology at you, and you can just go, hang on a moment, but you'd need 3 hours, and all they're throwing at you is one-liners, and so it's like, okay.
Well, as soon as you put a label on yourself, whether it's veganism or something else, you are creating separation now, which I just don't think is a good idea, because I believe in unity. I think we're all team human. We're all the same species. So, I mean, have a label, but to go out and flaunt it is like, why are you trying to stand out for? What are you trying to do?
Yeah. You've explored like egotistical stuff, eh?
In what sense? In myself, or like egotistic? I mean,
like our want to hang our hat on our ego, basically, and wrap ourselves up in this story. Does 3 tabs of acid kick that away?
Shit, man. When you've I guess when you've had some of the trips that I've had, then you just need to sniff acid, and that's going to happen. Yeah, nah, it definitely does. And I think I'm very torn about psychedelics these days, to be honest, because they've been very good to me in the past, but I'm also at a point now where, I mean, the last 6 months before all this therapy, I had that 3 tabs of acid, but I was also a lot of old egotistical, dare I say, behavior of mine started coming to the surface again. So stuff that I'd sort of left off from when I was a teenager, living in Geelong, living a bit rough, partying and just, being an all-around shithead. That started coming up again. So like I'd be smoking weed every day in the last 6 months, or if it wasn't weed, I'd be drinking coffees, which I just do not agree with me at all. They'd send me loopy. Or I'd be smoking ciggies as well, as healthy as I'm meant to be. Like let's label everything now, working at Fifth Element and everything. I'd be coming home at night and I'd be knocking down ciggies. Organic, of course, but nonetheless. Be drinking a bit on the weekends. Like if it wasn't something, it was something else. So that just kept on carrying on. And the last couple of weeks since COVID kicked in, and all the work I've done with the therapist and everything, she kind of showed me too that those things, that they don't even matter. I was sort of putting so much energy into how to not do these things rather than putting my energy into chasing what actually fulfills me, because I couldn't see what fulfills me. So she helped me unveil that and see the light, so to say. So I took this opportunity now to be like, all right, if I'm going to lead by example, and actually I do believe that this lifestyle is a much more sustainable one when it comes to fighting off viruses and pandemics, then now's the time to do that. So the last couple of weeks, I've been healthiest I've been in a long time, cleanest I've been in a long time. And honest to God, I'm heading down to the creek, and I just stop for a minute and look at the tree, and I get the exact same effects that I do when I'm on 3 tabs of acid. For me, I'm just understanding that I guess I'm starting to understand the brain chemistry elements of it all. Like, I think if you don't do these things like psychedelics or these big kind of just ego blockers, let's call them, they smack you in the face and they just sit you down and say, hey, take a good hard look at yourself. I think that's a good thing, but I also think those effects are just around in everyday life. That magic exists in sobriety and in the real world as well. If you are doing what's right for you, for who you want to be, for what your dreams are, for what your soul's asking you to do. If you're following that path, I don't think you need those things. However, I've done plenty of those things to get to this point too. So yeah, I think that's a side that's not talked about that much anymore, because they are pretty trendy these days. So I guess I want to voice that as well. I think I'm at a point in my my plant medicine, my psychedelic journey to say I've seen what I need to see. I'm good. It's time to implement those lessons now in the real world.
Yeah, and I guess that's one of the sort of arguments. No, that's not right. To sort of look at, like self-help or self-actualization or introspection, to be like, when is it the point that you're just becoming selfish, and when you're actually going to, move forward, experience the actual life that's in front of you. And you said something there about, you were looking at these habits and labeling them bad and focusing on not doing them. And then the person reframed that for you and say, well, actually, they don't matter. And that's a really interesting thing, how it was showing up as like you were trying to do all these great things, but on the side, there were these things that you perceived as bringing you down and bringing you unhappiness or lowering your self-worth and self-esteem. And you were sort of focusing on them like, oh, I can't do those, or, oh, I've done those, so man, I'm shit. Whereas if you sort of focus on the thing that, hey, I'm still doing. And that goes back to where I think that I count myself lucky that, hey, I'm still doing. I've been through a freaking roller coaster of a life, but hey, I'm still doing. And that's why I think when, it was 25, so it was 13 years of trying to do optometry, and then I was like, shit, I'm doing this. Why my world sort of collapsed a little bit. And then now, back up and running, or trying to get it back up and running. I keep sort of feel like I'm running on slippery grasses sometimes, but it's just about, what's the totality of it? What are the single things each day that keep you moving, keep you sane? But really, they also don't matter. The great things don't matter. The bad things that you do sometimes don't matter in the whole, but they're useful. And if you overindulge in the bad ones, then they're detrimental. But if you just dabble with them, well, then they don't matter.
It's whatever. So,
whatever. So, like I said, she helped you then shift where you're focusing onto where you're going, and that was like, oh, holy hell! Like, pulling the curtains, or whatever metaphor you want to throw on it. Like, well,
it's just never. I agree with you completely, man. It's those things. Everyone's got their own version. Their self-destructive tendencies. Mine are what I mentioned: cigarette and alcohols and extremism and all that chaos. Those things to me are a bit of a dragon, so I've labelled them as such. But it's. I was fighting a never-ending battle against this dragon, where it's like, well, just let the dragon be. Just let it be. And
it wants to protect the gold, man. Just leave it alone, and it won't burn you.
Exactly. Just let it do its thing, and it will be fine. Exactly. And you've got shit to do, as you said. I think I'm sort of learning. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to embody. No, trying's not the right word. I'm not doing anymore. I'm being.
Yeah. Nice.
I think that's the difference. I'm being, because when you just be who you are, you don't have to try anymore. And nothing's fake anymore. Nothing's wrong anymore. Like, I don't have to be nervous about this podcast like I was in the first one, because even if I say something that I feel is fucking ridiculous or just dumb, I can feel my integrity behind it now, and I know that it's still me, and I'm still learning, and I'm not perfect, and so there's just no like the leash is off, man. Now I don't have to think about what I'm doing because I'm just being anyway, and I just do while I'm being. Does that make sense?
Shit, yeah. I think that's what I was talking about.
That's the difference between a boy and a king. I'm trying to be a king now. I am a king. I am a king now.
That's Elliot Hulse.
That's the difference, right there, man. That's Elliot Hulse. That's Robert Moore, King Warrior Magician Lover. That's a lot of yeah. It's very deep ingrained in the male psyche, that stuff.
Yeah. And I think that's like the beginning mindset stuff is what I love to get across, and what I always, that's why I don't know whether it's indirectly or on purpose or what, but I always try to show in my stories, like archery, I'm like, oh, that was shit, or running up that hill that first day, holy shit, I nearly died. I was gasping, and then the second day I was like, right, I'm going to try to do some Wim Hof up here. And then afterwards, I was just like, man, that was impossible. My nervous system was just like, you nearly killed us, man. You're not going to relax right now.
Deal with this.
Yeah, deal with this first. Like, don't be so, don't get ahead of yourself right now. We're still trying to get over what just happened. We haven't done that. Shit, I don't know if I've ever done hill running, if I'm going to be honest. Like, man, it was just like, that wasn't cool. That wasn't cool. Just slow down. And so, and I was listening to who was it? I think it was Brian Callen and Joe Rogan. That was what they were. Yeah, it was, because they'd been to Terran Tactical and were doing some tactical shooting, and that was like they were saying, like, don't men. I'm so guilty of being like, yeah, I know, and I probably still am guilty of doing that, but I try and not be. Try have that beginner mindset,
For sure, you've been saying it in your head while I'm talking at a few things. For sure, this conversation.
That's right.
It just happens.
Yeah, but at the same time, you trying to understand that, like, I relate to that, and I feel that is actually the right thing, and I guess that's where what I've explored, talked to you a little bit about on Instagram, and what I was talking to Zane about on Instagram was like, the vocabulary is just not there, so we revert to these very specific things, like, yeah, I know, or that's good, or whatever, not really slowing down and trying to explain what it is. And so getting out of your way to learn something is a really good practice for them being open to conversation, not sort of lining things up into their grooves and just going through them. Actually seeing that it's quite fluid, it could go another way, or there's another way of doing this. And learning things also helps to relate across a wider dimension, I guess.
Definitely expands you. Yeah.
Which feeling, man. What you said about being, like, if you just start being this thing and exploring it and seeing what happens instead of trying to fit it into your groove, then you're going to have a richer experience.
You have a good time.
Yeah.
You're going to have a jolly old good time.
Yeah.
But the trick there, the struggle there, is that internal judge. No one's going to be harsher to us than our own internal critic. And that's where I've definitely gone wrong. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong, because being is messy. Because there's parts of you that want to be that, if you've never let these parts out since you were a kid, because somewhere along the way you learned that this isn't the way for me to behave, or for a man to behave, or anything like that shit's been storing up in your psyche and your body for all these years. You need to give it some space to be what it wants to be, because that is part of you as well. Hence, like I was saying before, a lot of people are going through a lot of emotions right now. I think a pandemic and all this stuff really brings a lot of our issues collectively to the surface and individually to the surface. And I feel, for me, the last week, something I've really been dealing with is frustration and anger coming through. The difference is now I normally would have not posted half the stuff I'm posting on Instagram or talked to it, or just like, I would have just been like, what the hell's wrong with me? Why am I thinking this way? This isn't a positive way to be thinking. Where now I'm just letting it out. And like, if I'm cursing or if I'm offending someone, or if I'm saying something that's going to be ridiculous, or if I'm saying something that, hell, even if I'm saying something that's got a chance to potentially be dangerous, and I'm going to know that in a couple months' time, if it's true in me, that's coming out right now, and I'm not suppressing that. That's the difference with team being, and that takes courage, man. That takes balls, and it's about learning how to, as my therapist, my counselor put it, learn how to separate that judge and put him beside. He's always going to be with you, but rather than being in you, just let him sit over there in the corner. And then you can do.
Yeah, I think that's what you often hear back to people when they're talking about their social media, how it's like, it makes me feel bad. And I look at it like, why does it make you feel bad? And I don't know the answer to it. And then when people, again, put you up on a pedestal for, oh, you look so natural in front of the camera, and you just brought up the fact that, hey, the last time we did the podcast, you were packing yourself, and we got through it, and you said to me, oh man, I was so nervous. And I was like, man, you were brilliant. You're like, especially as we got into it, your flow was awesome. And like you say, no, you're just straight away into the flow. And that was what was quite good about, you said at the start, no foreplay, just let's go. Because
let's just do it.
Yeah, let's just do it. But that is like, it shows up how even the fact that to try and be yourself in front of Instagram or wherever is so hard. And that's where Facebook's quite good, because when you and I were both involved when it was quite networky with Prove It, there was all these sort of daily tasks that you should have done, and one of those was doing Facebook Lives, and they just every now and again they pop up on my on this day, and I sit back and watch them, and I'm like, holy shit, like, man, it just shows that doing something for the first time is gonna freak you out. Like, know that. And I guess that's the more you do things for the first time as an adult instead of as a child, where the whole thing's just about, well, hey, I don't know anything, so I'm just learning it. Like realizing, and I think that's where getting past that age 25, as we talked about last time, getting past age 25, we can start to actually go, hey, I don't know shit. It is good, because then you can be a child again and just interact with anything. Like, shit, I might learn something today. Hey, I might expand on what's going on. Every new experience might teach me something. Every new interaction might teach me something. And like, for today, I was talking to someone yesterday. They were like, what are you going to do the next 2 days? And I was like, oh, well, we're not theoretically working on the farm, so I'll probably get some podcasts out. And they're like, oh, do you want some people? And I was like, well, thanks, but I'm actually a little bit selfish about this. I just love having conversations with people that are interesting. And like, I saw your video today. I was like, Steve, what are you doing? And you're like, well,
yeah,
nothing, obviously. I was like, sweet, let's talk.
Let's have a chat. Yeah, I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love these conversations. I love having them. Yeah. I love listening to them. It's such a great opportunity. And now more people are going to be forced to experience this.
Yeah.
During isolation. Because what else are you going to do?
That's the reason why the internet's crapping out. Like, people are watching whatever they want on Netflix.
That and fucking premium Pornhub.
For free, right?
For free. Yeah, you guys got to settle down. I couldn't get on my internet before. I was clocking out. I had to do some serious business. Everyone's jerking off fucking all over the town.
Tim Ferriss's episode the other week, he started off with, hey, ladies and germs, this episode of Tim Ferriss Experience is brought to you by Pornhub. Just joking. I was like, oh that's gold. Boom.
What a world.
That's really, you took the words right out of my mouth, dude. What a world. What a world we live in. Where it's like, I was in a Facebook Messenger thread the other day that it was when we were still in stage 3, so all these guys had started working at home, and shit, did it take a left turn real fast? It was like wake up. It was like a inventory of the day, and it was just basically like wake up, wank, wake up, wake, 10 o'clock, wake. And I was just like, oh my god. Yeah.
I've seen that. I was like, oh, it's not a bad itinerary, actually. Slap that in the calendar.
Yeah, and I guess it's like, it's funny because it is potentially true for weirdly, and this is where the narratives come in. Weirdly for males, that's like a high potential. And now there's like the odd female out there just trying to like take the reins of that as well. And I don't know if they're a similar personality trait to you, and they're just going to the extreme end, so hopefully they can come back a little. Yeah, like, doesn't that speak to the fact that we are just freaking animals? That's what within, hey, it's a good idea to work from home. That's the immediate place that people go to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like you guys buying toilet paper, what do you think? Why do you think Aussies want toilet paper?
I still can't work that out, man. Like, that's just, I mean, fighting your neighbors for toilet paper. That's, you're gonna, if something this, like coronavirus, they're forecasting it's going to kill people, but it's not going to be that deadly compared to a lot of other things. Sorry if I'm sounding insensitive here. I'm not. If you're going to die, you're going to shit yourself anyway. You're going to need all that toilet paper for. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. But people have to, I'm also like, I'm getting angry, but I'm trying this is my internal struggle at the moment, big time, is things are infuriating me and I'm getting frustrated. And I'm really trying hard not to judge, because I just understand that when push comes to shove, when your back's against the wall, when you're facing all this existentialism, people are going to respond the way they're going to respond. And I think it's healthy to let people respond how they need to.
Yeah.
If I'm coming up with anger right now, I should be angry for a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I think,
and I'm trying to, I don't know how to reconcile those things. Because it's ridiculous. Fucking toilet paper.
I just had the thought, like, who was the first person that was walking down the supermarket aisle and was like, I'm going to buy 5 packs. And then what then? Right. What then was the cascade? The person beside them in the aisle was like, hey, I only need 1, but that person's just grabbed 5. I'm also going to grab 5. And so then there's 2 people in the aisle that have both got 5 packs of toilet paper. And then who else walked down the aisle and was like, shit, I'm going to buy 5 packs too.
I want to buy the last 5.
And
see
then,
you later, suckers.
And then other people have walked down the aisle and gone, oh man, there's like bucket of toilet paper left. Oh, I'm going to grab all these. And then there was no toilet paper left. And then someone took a photo of it and I don't know, either put it just on social media or sent it to a mainstream media place, and then all of a sudden this narrative started, and then so everybody else that was scared then was like, holy shit, we need toilet paper, and then boom, it's just like the most interesting crisis that's out of what the actual thing is. Again, it's like going back to that thing about let's stop focusing on the negative and let's actually focus about where we're going, what we're being. No, I'm just going to dart out here and follow the thing that's, really activating my fear is, what if I've got no toilet paper? Like,
right.
The whole thing is so weird and at the same time ridiculously fascinating. And again, like going to a counsellor and voicing yourself, having this mirror stuck in your face, like, yeah, this is how, it's the same with like working from home. All men are just going to masturbate all day. Like, it's this mirror of humanity, of our sort of our naturalistic things that might show up. If the fear hits the fan, we're just going to look around and see what everyone else is doing and then do it too.
We're just going to behave like the monkeys that we are. Yeah, it's true, man. And that's why that's why for me, I feel such a calling to get to work now, because this has put up a mirror to us as a species. And you can see how everyone's reacting to it. Like, it's the reactions to the fear that are causing more issues than the virus itself. And that's the repercussions we're going to be dealing with. Like, I don't think anyone's really disputing that. That's why the economy is up the shitter. That's why the medical industries are suffering. Like, that's the issue here. And so this just tells me that as a species, where we got work to do. Because remember, human creatures are social creatures, so we all rely on each other and we all vibe off each other as a collective. And you're only as strong as your weakest link. So if our average is jerking off and hoarding toilet paper and polarizing and yelling at each other and attack each other and just fear, what if something comes around that's actually a threat to us? That scares me. That's where I'm like, this is what we need to start working on. We need to look at these issues for real. Like, I wanna put a message. I understand too. I struggle to reconcile this part as well, but I understand the need to isolate and to protect the older generations and everyone who is at risk and people who are immune compromised, things like that. At the same time, I don't want my generation to have to be that. I don't want to be that person when I'm older, so that everyone has to suffer because I haven't looked after myself and I haven't kept myself in a state where my immune system can't deal with a little fucking bug. I don't want that to happen. I don't want my generation to be that. I think we need to start looking at that, and let's start behaving and living in the ways where we're going to turn 80 one day and that's not going to be an issue. You look at tribal living, you look at hunter-gatherers, you look at Native Americans, everyone in every generation had their place. The elders had their place, and they weren't weaklings. And again, this is going to sound insensitive, but it's really not. But like, I mean, if one of the elders got so weak and to a point where they were lagging behind the overall tribe, they'd send themselves packing. I feel like a dick saying it, but seriously, man, we just need to make ourselves harder to kill.
Shit, yeah, mate. You just blew my mind right then. I was like thinking Memento Mori is what I basically write when I journal, is like 33,000. I need to get my diary. It's I've written about it before. It's basically how many days you live on average and how many seconds there are in a day. 240,000 and might be 33,000 days that you on average live. And that, I think, is part of the fear mechanism. And what you're talking about actually being your life, actually living your life. When there's this narrative that, hey, you might die, it's like, holy shit, I haven't done anything. Oh my God, I'm losing my mind. I might die. And then, like you say, to live and be your life until you're 80, and to be, and that might be why some of those old people just came and saw me. They're like, I do not give a fuck. If I think I'm healthy, I think I'm strong, I've lived this life, I've enjoyed this life, I've created so much. If this is the thing that kills me, so what? Like, hey, like, something's going to do it. Something's going to do it. Like, I guess that's where a pandemic kind of kicks in, that it makes people address their mortality. And that's why that concept of addressing your mortality every single day, the Memento Mori, like having a skull on your desk to go, shit, I'm going to be a skull one day, is a powerful thing to get on and freaking live and be in your life. And so maybe that's the lesson we learn. Stop jerking off and wiping your ass all day.
Exactly. Yeah. Hoka, hey, similar thing. Have you heard that one?
No.
Native American. I don't think it's an exact translation. It's a little bit adulterated, but some of the tribes in Native American, it was like a war cry. They'd yell "Hoka, hey," and essentially what it translates to is, "Today is a good day to die." Yeah. And that was the concept. If you've lived every single day with such conviction and such integrity, to the point where like you're good. You're living your life the way you're meant to live it. What's the difference whether you die today or whether you die in 50 years? Doesn't matter. Today's good. It's always gonna be undone. I'm always gonna have things left unsaid. But have I done everything I need to be doing? Am I living? Am I being? Yeah, man. Today's a good day to die.
Yeah.
So I hope this is a wake up call and people can reflect on it, like you're saying. I hope that's the case.
Mate,
Yes, it's time for. Oh yeah, go on.
What's your heritage? Because I'm going way back to one of your earlier statements about sort of the inverted commas trauma, the way you created a story in your from your childhood, and there's another concept there about ancestral and the way that that's sort of the trauma of one person inflicts on the next generation, not directly, but just behaviorally and psychologically, and the sort of things that you say. I watched a video of my daughter today, and there was a candle that was blown out, and her nana goes, "Don't touch that, it's hot." And I was just like, ooh, it's one of those things. and like as a parent, and I had this conversation with Kane Briscoe, we were talking about letting your kids explore stuff, and the amount of times you catch yourself going, "Don't do that, you might fall and hurt yourself." You go, "Shut up." Do yourself. Yeah. You're like, okay, do that. Just do that, but be careful. Think about that. This is risky. Assess the risk. And I sort of didn't really, I kind of understood the concept of how that could sort of flow on through generations and stuff. But that, the Wim Hof experience that I had with Mark Kluwer and Dean Gladstone up in the Gold Coast, where I saw this shipwreck. Now this might just be me post hoc analysing that, hey, maybe that's trauma that I held on to, the fact that my ancestors came out from Ireland. Their parents had died on the farm, so they couldn't really work on the farm anymore. So they all came out here. My great-great-grandfather had 5 kids all of a sudden. Then he was, it might have been more than that, 5 sons and some daughters as well. And then he died. And then so that repeated generation of like big family, no parents or no father. And then they like got scattered throughout the country. And then it was like my great-grandfather set up in Invercargill, and then it's my grandfather, then it's my mum, and now it's me. And it's like, 4 generations, probably 5 of these traumatic events. Is that what shows up in those things that your parents say to you, like, don't do that, and they don't even explain why you shouldn't do that, or maybe think about those consequences. It's not communicated to you. And it goes back to what you were saying about the leaders at the moment. Stay inside, protect everybody. It's like you say, how about we just open that up a little bit and have everyone buy into the purpose and the why, and yeah, when you understand that, hey, there's immune compromised people, there's elderly people that this is generally who is dying from this thing, and so if you're not interacting with them, then you potentially aren't killing them in essence. Also, it's probably a lot to do with like you say, their immune system, their health status, their comorbidities. But what I always say to my patients when they go, well, the first time, so I say to the patients when they go, why do I have this thing? And I was like, well, it's in essence, it's time under exposure. Most illnesses come about with age because you've been doing that thing for 80 years. You've been, you grew up with a parent that smoked for 40 years and you were around that for 20. Or, you ate all that sugar, you ate all that wheat, even though you've got Celtic heritage and you're most likely gluten intolerant. So, like, going back to my question, what's your heritage, and do you know much about like the trauma that they've gone through? Immigrating to Australia. I was speaking with someone the other day who was Transylvanian, and he sort of thought that Australia was very cosmopolitan. He's from Melbourne, and now since moving to New Zealand, he realizes that it's quite tribal, and particularly the narrative from the Australian politics right now is very much sort of matriarchally, monarchist country.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, he's like, man, it's so bizarre now being away from Melbourne, which had all these melting pots, but isolated melting pots, to now being in New Zealand and seeing, we've got our own struggles here in New Zealand. I was speaking with someone the other day that had a treaty settlement in 2020. I don't know if this is how dumb it is. I don't even know how old New Zealand is specifically, but we're still sorting stuff out from the treaty. Yeah, like, what do you reckon? What shows up? Macedonian, right? Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
100% pure Makedonski. Yeah. I mean, for starters, man, I fucking love my mum and dad so much. Like, they've given me absolutely everything I could have possibly asked for, and then some. They're also both from a very poor village, because Macedonia is not a very rich place. So growing up, I've always had that perspective and appreciation. I have first cousins. I have a lot of family overseas that just live in villages and don't have much. So I think I'm very grateful for the things I do have, because I've got that perspective. And in terms of trauma, I think ultimately, I'll get my traumas from my parents, but where did they get those habits in the first place in order to instill them onto me? They got it from their parents. They got it from their parents. They got it from their parents. And it goes up a scale. I know in the spiritual communities and the conscious communities, they do a lot of ancestral healing. They'll do meditations and things like that in terms of healing trauma from the past and releasing your whole lineage from those traumas. And that essentially, I feel, is like, if you do the kind of work that you and I are doing, and you are seeking counselors and trying to learn how to cope with these things, I think it does work, because I go have now conversations with my dad and my uncles, and there's a transformation that's occurred in me from when I was young, and because they're so close to me and understand me on this intricate level that only family can understand you, that forces them to put a mirror to themselves as well, and in their own way look at these traumas. So I do think that healing yourself does a lot of good for everyone around you in that sense. Yeah, I guess. I
think what you spoke about there, and I think is very important for anyone that does sort of introduce themselves to this concept, is that exactly what you said there. You need to be empathetic about stuff that's passed on to you, because it's basically no one's fault. It was subconscious, and exactly that. And then by the reason why it's generationally healing is because your behaviors, exactly that, create a mirror for people on the other side. They can then see your behavior and see the way that you interact or you behave or stuff like that, and then they can sort of self-actualize that back and go, man, or you can almost inspire back up the chain. You can, man, so-and-so handled that really well. I wonder how they thought about that, or how they interacted with that, or whatever. And then, move on forward. And like I said, you can release the trauma from a whole lineage of people. And if now, as we live longer and longer and longer, if you're in a family now that's great grandparents, then you might influence 4 generations at once. You might influence your kin, and that might be why I'm starting to have these thoughts now that I have a daughter, and like I say, you catch yourself out on passing those on, and you might influence your parents, and then you might influence your grandparents, which is their great grandparents. So all at once, bang, 4 generations may or may not be alleviated, and even if it's by a small amount, alleviating some factors in our subconscious.
It's a butterfly effect. It's a butterfly effect, man. It is. It goes back. It's like samurai culture was very big on getting vengeance for somebody, and that would let their spirit go. But this is the same thing. You're freeing somebody from the traps that have hold them back their whole lives. There's a good word that's coming to mind, but it's not quite coming. But yeah, it's this is why sometimes, like, I know I used to think it, and I think a lot of people still do, but it's like when you begin the healing process, whatever that is for yourself, it might seem like people close to you might get really triggered by it and might start being like, what the fuck are you doing? You're going crazy. And it will start rubbing off and they'll call you selfish. But by you healing yourself, it is a butterfly effect on the rest of the world. Because now you've dealt with those traumas that you've been accepting from your parents or from your family your whole life. Now, all of a sudden, you're saying, no, I'm not accepting this. And that's like, whoa, that stops them in their tracks. And they have to reassess a pattern that they've been playing out forever. They got no choice. And just by that awareness, even if it is a little subconscious, it's going to have a ripple effect. Yeah. So it's so important to do this work and to spread this work and like just go for it, man. It's better for everyone.
Two things on that is like the bringing it to the consciousness thing, and the reason why it makes you feel uncomfortable is because all of a sudden you're a beginner. All of a sudden, especially if you're say 80 years old, and you're all of a sudden something's highlighted to you that you thought that you weren't even aware you didn't know. That's quite confronting. So you're at that unconscious and incompetent level, and then you can move through it and develop. Shit. Oh yeah, the other thing, as I said about having empathy for the people above you, not blaming them or hating on them for the things that are passed on to you. Having empathy for them, but also having real gratitude for the fact that you're in a position to be able to worry about this stuff. Like,
right.
Just again, going back to what's showing up right now, when you're in a freaking fear response, a famine response, oh my God, I'm going to die response, oh my God, I'm going to let my family down, I don't have a job, I don't have an income anymore, what the heck am I going to do? You don't have a lot of time for introspection. And that's actually how generations before us have lived. Like, our ancestors traveled freaking halfway around the world for a better life. And through, in my case, 4 generations, I've got to the space where I can sit here in a bed on a farm on rural internet and have a conversation with you in freaking Melbourne over the internet about, holy cow, this human existence is freaking weird. And it's being highlighted so much right now. Like, times are a bit tough right now, but be grateful that shit you can. I bet this is a hell of a lot easier than the flu pandemic, and I don't think there's too many people around that'll have lived through that, and if they did, they probably would not remember what that was like. So that's also why it's quite weird.
Yeah, no, I think I definitely am an opportunistic man, and I see a lot of opportunity coming out of this, and I am very grateful for that. I mean, the initial stuff that's coming up, it's all our shit surfacing, and that's shit that as a collective, as a species, we've been shoving under the rug for long, and now we haven't got any choice but to deal with that as a collective and as individuals. And so that's going to come up as fear for a lot of people, because people haven't done the work to be aware of their fear or their stress response at all. But in the end of the day, I prefer to be looking at COVID not as an enemy, but it is literally just a teacher, and it's telling us, hey, humans, chill the fuck out. That's all. Let the skies breathe again. Like, go yin. There's been so much yang. Yang's such a go, dominant, masculine, busy 100-hour weeks. It's a force, and that's good, but you also need to bring it in. It's fire. It's a fire force. And our country was literally on fire. So now this has just given us the opportunity to go in and to do some of that healing. And so, it's proving that the systems we've been building can't necessarily handle everything, and they're not built to handle everything. So I think this is such a good opportunity, and I'm really excited, because now's the time for natural leaders to show themselves. People are going to step to the plate. If they are leaders, they're going to step to the plate now. It's just going to happen. Healers, if you're a healer and you're listening to this, if you do certain healing modalities or coaching, or some of the more woo-woo stuff even, or if you're just doing stuff that nobody really understood, if you're really good at understanding memento mori and death and those concepts, inner child work, whatever it might be, now's your time to shine, because now's when the world actually needs this stuff, and our current systems and models don't support that. Doesn't mean that they're irrelevant or that they don't exist, but this is just the time that they're going to come to life. So I think that's actually very exciting, and I think there's a lot of opportunity in that, and I'm quietly just pumped in that sense. Yeah. Not everyone's going to take it that way, but that is what's going to happen. So if this is you and you're listening, like, now's the time to step up.
Mint. One more thing. You spoke about supporting those people in your community, and here in New Zealand, you can get bloody conspiratorial about it, but the only person that you can get your food from is the supermarket.
Really?
But, yeah, I know, it's a real bastard.
But you guys have such good cows in New Zealand.
I know. Thankfully, a lot of our butchery stuff does go to the supermarket, and actually the supermarket shelves in the deli were looking spectacular on Wednesday, so that's quite good. But
it was really funny to see that after the toilet paper, all the organic meat was gone, and all the fake vegan meat was exactly where it was left on the shelf.
It'll stay there for 20 years, don't worry. It's got an expiration
It'll be good. It won't go off.
Yeah.
For real, man.
Yeah, because it's not real food. Anywho, let's not go there.
Let's not go there.
Yeah. I feel, and we were having this conversation the other night, that I think like a greengrocer and a butcher are really good. I think it's a real shame that they've been asked to close, because they are very easily able to control the flow of people. Like, one person can come in, look at the whole selection, and it's also sort of 1 or 2 steps away from the producer. And I think, in the case of vegetable markets, there's usually one person away, and sometimes it is the producer. And so the fact that they're being shut down I think is a real pain. I think there is a little bit of a petition going on to try and get those people back open. Same with, like you're talking about healing. Same with our natural health stores. They've been closed down. They've been classed as non-essential. And so there's people out there that can't get those sort of items. As you probably had in Australia. I think iHerb ran out of vitamin C supplementation. Yeah, just small little things that don't really make sense. And I also hope that our postal service and our courier service are in the business of logistics. Surely a person who's in the business of logistics can prioritize logistical matters, such as getting PPE and face masks from whoever's making them to the hospital as a priority, and then all the other shit can be moved around. And so I think that hopefully in a fortnight, or maybe the 4 weeks, when all this is sort of, that was the target, when all this sort of gets reanalyzed, stuff like that can open up. Like my mate's partner here, she's an artist, and so she could still be earning an income via prints and her works, but she can't, because she can't send them out to people. So yeah, it's I think we need to keep that high of mind, because not only is a butcher or a greengrocer providing some of the best and close, it's keeping pretty close to your food, which is something that I am hugely passionate about, but they're also an individual that's paying a lease, sometimes employing some people, living in the community, quite often has a family, and often is, again, generational. They're often generational in that skill. So I hope that we go out there and support those people that have taken a hit. I know on Wednesday, I went and ordered a couple of things from a New Zealand business, the Advanced Archery guys. I bought a whole bunch of stuff off them, and Sean over in Australia with Dog Gun Coffee. I did an order from him. It was $30, but hey, that's my little part to hopefully he keep, because he's just started last year. This sort of stuff is not good, but I don't care if it doesn't get to me for another 3 weeks. But yeah, that's the sort of thing that I hope we can be really conscious of where we put our money, particularly as we get released back out into the world, I guess.
Yeah. 100% agree with you, man. I think that's how we have to go about it. Like that's it. Everything's right about it. It's close to the food chain. It's close to the supply chain. It's local. It's supporting local businesses and families. People who've got the skill. Supermarkets don't care.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I don't
know. That's why I'm kind of like, lockdown's not going to be too bad of a thing if it forces us to actually think a lot more locally.
Yeah.
If it forces us to get that sense of community and that tribalism going again, I think that's great. But we need to be shut down for a while for that to happen, for it to really feel the effect. Let's be honest.
Yeah, to stop the screaming. Oh, I don't know if it'll stop the screaming, but you're saying about supermarkets. They don't care. You just have to look at people trying to fulfill the orders, and then keeping your place on the shelf. Oh, there's lots of things. The specials that you have to run, or else you just get demoted. Yeah, no. They're an effective business and a massive beast. It's even in their name, super, for a reason. I'm not saying supermarkets are wrong; they're amazing, and we're seeing that right now. That holy shit, the supermarket is the lifeblood for many people out there right now.
It is. And it is just part of that logistical go world that we have gotten into this for. Like that's just part of that whole system and that whole energy. And I really do believe that this is our opportunity to. Again, I'm not going to be an extremist because I'm learning not to be. I don't think that's just going to change because COVID's happened. But I think those of us who see another way of living and another way of society being and other methods of just surviving as a species and getting on with life, this is the opportunity to break that system when it is at the weakest it's ever been. Now's our opportunity to bring in these new ways of thinking and new ways of living.
Yeah, man.
So I hope many people hear the call and get with it.
Mate, I'm just looking at a hedgehog out my window.
Oh, lucky man.
It's rained, and so yeah, it's poking its nose all through the lawn. I guess it's trying to eat worms or grubs or something. Mate,
that's beautiful. I live on a main road. I got all the supermarket trucks going past my window every day.
Mate,
I thought lockdown would slow this down, but no.
No, speed it up. You've been on here before, and so just remind us where we find Steve. Basically, Instagram.
Instagram's probably going to get most of the stuff. So I'm at Stivka _ STIVKA _. Yeah. You can type in Steven Nikolovski on Facebook, and I'm a lot on that as well. And I'd probably recommend I do a little bit of talking and stuff at Fifth Element Wellness as well. So 5 Element Wellness on Instagram.
Legends. They are absolute legends. As I say, there was a little purple patch when I had you and Dave and Gary Ficky on a year and a half ago. And let's hope it. I don't care really, but let's hope it does the same, because I think this was a cool conversation. We took this exploration for a walk, so to speak. Yeah,
we really did, man. Yes, didn't go. I didn't expect it to go any particular way. So I guess it went perfect.
Absolutely,
it was great.
Mate,
thanks for having me, man.
Do you have an idea to share to just sort of throw out to the world?
I think I've said a lot of what I'm feeling at the moment anyway. So I guess we can just recap a little bit. Just be kind to yourself, because there's a lot going on and a lot of things are going to come up. And I think we just need to be gentle with ourselves, and whether that is anger or frustration or crying or laughing or whatever the hell it is, just be okay with that. Know that there is a lot of support as well. Like, I know you and I, for sure, if anyone's like struggling with something, reach out and talk. Now's the chance to do that kind of stuff. we've got time to slow down. So slow down, go inside, and let's get through this as a community, and let's get back on the other side better than ever.
Legend, mate. Thanks so much. Press stop.
Thanks, brother.
Awesome.